guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the Adidas D Rose 11. So this shoe is going for 120 bucks and I got it on adidas.com, but it's gone now, which is weird. Like I went on their site and I saw the D Rose 11. I was like, oh, that's dope, and I bought it. And then now that I look at it like on their site, it's not even on there anymore, so I don't know what's going on with that. But if it is available, I will try to leave a link in the description box if you guys do want to cop. This is D Rose's 11th signature shoe. Not a lot of players, not a lot of people have 11 signature shoes with one company. So shout out to D Rose, one of my favorite players, very hardworking individual, and his story is awesome. You know, just from where he came from as far as like after his injury and all that. So shout out to D Rose. Like I said, it's 120 bucks and it does look very similar to a couple of shoes. And of course, this is the D Rose 10. Anyways, let's get it started off with the tracciones. And for the D Rose 11, it is a combination of traction patterns, right? So when I saw this, I was like, okay, so here from the side, you see the D Rose 11, you're like, oh, it looks very similar to the next levels, you know, the first next level that came out. And this shoe was going for how much? Like 180 bucks, 200 bucks when it came out, which was expensive. It doesn't really even have a signature player with the shoe, right? You know, it looks like the next level is basically using the same exact cushioning setup and all that. But if you look at the actual traction pattern of the Rose 11, I was like, wait, that looks familiar, right? And I was pretty correct. You know, that it looks very similar to the D Rose 7, and the D Rose 7 traction pattern is GOAT. This shoe had one of the best traction patterns. It's like there's the Kyrie 2, the Kobe 9, the Curry 2. What else is GOAT? You know, there's a good amount, but I can't really think. Look at the Kobe 11. You know, there's a lot of shoes, right? And the D Rose 7 is one of them. And you know, the traction pattern is similar. It doesn't mean the rubber compound is the same though. So we'll have to see how this outsole performs. As far as the durability goes, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the best. You know, the rubber is super soft and the grooves are thin, and I guess they're okay as far as the depth goes. It doesn't seem too shallow. It doesn't seem very deep, but I hope it performs like the D Rose 7. And just a little disclaimer, of course, I'm going to be playing mainly outside in this shoe. There are no gyms open for me to play in, but the gym that I go to, you know, the indoor court is open. They just won't let us ball in it. So I've been taking the shoes that I've been testing and just testing it out a little bit, you know, running around in it. So of course, it's not a full performance review on the indoor court. I'm just going to give you guys a little brief synopsis of the overall performance of it. So stay tuned for that. I guess it's better than nothing, right? But yeah, I mean, on my wood floors, it seems to have a very good bite. There's a nice little squeak to it as well. So I'm super excited to try this out. I actually really like it. Moving on to the heel to toe transition. So I don't really like it all too much. I mean, it's not terrible, you know. So here in the heel, it's relatively flat, or it's super flat, you know, but there is a lot of heel compression. Look at how much the heel like comes out. That protrusion is insane. So it allows you to compress the heel a lot more, which we'll get into in cushion. But I don't know, it makes it feel overall a little bit bulkier here in the heel, which I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like it's a little too much, just in my personal opinion. Here in the forefoot, you guys see how flat this is? Like, look at that. Compared to what, the D Rose 7, look at that. And then look at that. Like, are you serious? You know, that's one thing that I hated about, I guess, Adidas's basketball shoes in 2019 is like, you know, the next levels, the Marquee Boost, it's like all their ball shoes were super flat like this. And it's not a huge deal because there is a good amount of forefoot flex, you know, like in the next levels. And here in the D Rose 11, there's a lot of forefoot flex, but it's just like a slapper, you know. Like when you're running down the court, it just slaps, and it's not a smooth heel to toe transition, but I'm sure there's a good amount of people that don't mind it. For me, it is it's not a huge deal, but I do mind it. You know, I like to have a smooth heel to toe transition. Like here in the 10, it wasn't that bad either. Look at this. Like the forefoot curve is, you know, there's a lot. But the D Rose 11, they changed it up quite a bit, and they basically recycled the midsole from the next levels. And I don't know how I feel about that. Of course, I mean, D Rose's line, I don't think it's as popular as it used to be. So that's probably why Adidas did that. But anyways, as far as the cushioning setup goes, they're using a full length light strike cushioning setup. It's pretty much the same as the original Next Levels. and it's awesome. There's an insane amount of heel compression. It feels nice. It feels like impact protection is going to be really good. It's pretty high up in the heel and it's very low to the ground here in the forefoot, so you definitely feel that offset. And yeah, I mean, if you've tried out the original Next Levels, it's pretty much how the D Rose 11 is going to feel. Light Strike does bottom out though, so you know, there's not going to be as much compression here in the heel, and it is slightly caged, I guess, kind of coming into the heel here and also extending here sort of into the forefoot. All right, moving on to the materials. So here in the forefoot, they're using like a textile material. It looks like some TPU strands that they're using, and that seems to be glued on top of like a textile material. It's overall very thin. It feels a little flimsy. You guys can hear that? Right, it's a little flimsy, right? But it's not terrible. Like I said, it's super minimal and very thin, so it doesn't feel horrible or anything. It conforms to your foot fairly well. And then here on the medial and lateral side of the shoe, you have a screen mesh. The screen mesh is basically on top of another material, and then here in the heel, you have like a neoprene material, which feels very nice. So I mean, yeah, I like the material here in the toe box. You have a little bit of fuse here as well. The tongue, like here on top of the tongue, you have a good amount of padding, which I like a lot. In the middle of the tongue, you have a mesh material for more ventilation. And then here in the ankle area, I mean, so this is kind of weird. You have some stitching for some Achilles pillows, but there's not really Achilles pillows. Nothing protrudes out or anything. You just have an outline of stitches, which is weird. So there are no Achilles pillows, but there's a lot of padding, you know, here on the sides of the ankle as well as here in the back. It feels super comfortable, very plush, especially here in the back of the heel. That feels great. So the materials, I mean, for 120 bucks, it's not bad. Minimal here in the forefoot, a good amount of padding here in the heel, and also in the tongue is pretty much just how I like it. So it feels great on foot, quality in hand, and I guess like how it looks is okay, you know, of course not the best. As for the laces, the eyelets are pretty much reminds me of the D Rose 8, I believe. The D Rose 8, you know, had the eyelets that are made from like the string, and the string is pretty thin. The D Rose 8, I did have issues where the eyelet actually ripped off the shoe, so hopefully I don't have that issue here in the D Rose 11. And then on the last eyelet, we have like a flywire cable. It's not, of course it's not flywire, that's Nike, but that's just what I'm gonna call it. And in this colorway, it's a white string, and it seems like it kind of goes in to, I actually don't really know where it goes into, but when you tighten it, it doesn't really seem to like tighten anything all too much. So all right, as far as the fit goes, the fit isn't too good for me, you know. D Rose's, I don't know, like the 7 was pretty nice. Yeah, like D Roses for me, like in the past, haven't fit me very well. There's a good amount of toe space here. It doesn't feel too good. Lengthwise, I was okay. There's a little bit of length. I would suggest going true to your Adidas size. But if you want it to be super duper snug, then go down half a size. But just be careful on that. There is only a little bit of length here for me personally. Widthwise, it's also kind of wide, you know, which is pretty much the opposite of the D Rose 7. D Rose 7, it wasn't narrow, but it wasn't like wide. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just the right amount for me. So I guess they widened it up a little bit here in the 11. And it's just not a great fit for me personally, you know. There's a lot of toe space, like I said. There's a good amount of like dead space here throughout the shoe. So I'm probably gonna double sock or put another insole in the shoe. If you have a wide foot or you like a roomier fit, this is probably the shoe to get. And also this shoe is very easy to put on. The tongue opens up a lot, and you have a very large heel tab, so you just slide your foot in, tighten up the laces, and you're good to go. And by the way, the tongue is a half boot construction tongue, so the tongue is connected to a material that goes underneath this upper for an overall better one-to-one fit, and it keeps the tongue in place. All right, as far as the support and lockdown goes, I feel like it's gonna be very good. You know, you have a very low, wide base. You know, as you guys can see, the light strike does protrude out here in the forefoot, and it's super flat. You guys see that? It's very flat. So lateral stability seems like it's gonna be good. For lateral containment, also I feel like it's gonna be very good. You know, here in the heel, you have an internal TPU heel counter, it feels like. Yeah, there is. And then you have this external TPU like piece, which also cages the midsole. And then here in the forefoot, you don't really have anything. But I feel like this material will be supportive enough. Hopefully it doesn't like roll over anything. Of course, I'm gonna have to test that out, so we'll have to see on that. This shoe it's kind of like a mid-cut a little bit, you know. This part definitely does go over your ankle bone. Here in the heel, we have the D Rose logo, and then on the lateral side, it says Rose with the 11 being upside down, which is kind of interesting. On the lateral side, it says Adi Zero. And then here on the tongue, it says Adidas. And as for weight, I feel like this shoe is going to be, I feel like average, right? Oh, no, it's a little bit heavier than average, 13.3 ounces. Let's check the other shoe, 13.26, so pretty much the same weight. So quality control seems good in these pairs of shoes. And yeah, I mean, 13.3 isn't super heavy, but it's not light either. Average for me is around 12.5 ounces. Does it feel heavy? It feels a little bottom heavy, to be honest. You know, the material, like I said, is super duper thin and very minimal. There's just a lot of padding here in the ankle. And like I said, it feels a little bulky here in the heel because the cushion like protrudes out a lot. Moving on to the aesthetics, I like it. You know, I feel like this is what the next level should have been and not this. You know, I hate how laceless shoes look, and just personally for me, I don't like how it looks. So yeah, hopefully also it's way better traction than the next level. The next level traction was terrible for me. The only thing I don't like about the shoe is the fit. The fit is not too good, but that's pretty easy to fix for me. You know, like I said, I can add an insole or double sock. So yeah, I'm liking the shoe so far, and I'm very excited to try it out. But anyways, that's my first impressions look on the D Rose 11. If it's available, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.